How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Blackrock's second fund, their new crypto fund, just got a lot of inflows. I want to go through what's happening there. Also talk about what's happening in the economy because we did get some updated numbers that will most likely drive the market. If you don't mind, hit subscribe. Turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this one as soon as I make them. There's also going to be a link underneath the video to Margex. In case you want to start trading cryptocurrencies on leverage, you can use the link underneath the video. There's no KYC, you don't need a VPN, and you get a deposit bonus as well if you use the link that I give underneath the video. There's also a link down there to CoinW as well, which is another trading platform where you can trade cryptocurrency futures or leverage. You can also buy spot crypto. When you use that link underneath the video, you get access to a bunch of bonuses, and you can also join the group that they've given us access to where they give you trading information, different trading setups. They give you seminars, live trading calls, all that kind of stuff. So it can be really useful. I've been using it and I really like it so far. So definitely check out those links. Let's go through the economic data before we get to BlackRock and what was just announced there. GDP fourth quarter, second revision, went up to 3.4%. The expectation was 3.2%. So GDP is higher than expected. Economy is looking good. Personal consumption, 3.3%, expectation was 3%. Core PCE, 2%, the expectation was 2.1%. So core PCE is coming down, which is interesting, coming down more than expected. Price index, 1.6, expectation, 1.6. This is pretty bullish, I think. It's good for the markets. Obviously, GDP is strong, economy is strong. PCE, which is an alternative to CPI, has been coming down, which is good as well. This is bullish for the markets, and Bitcoin is moving up a little bit. It was moving up before this news as well, but up back to close to 71,000. Would not be surprised if we continued to rally up, especially with some of the inflow numbers that we saw yesterday. We are seeing BlackRock get more and more inflows, not from their Bitcoin ETF, that's obviously happening too, but their new tokenized fund got another 95 million in deposits, actually 150 million since we covered it last. So let's cover this. BlackRock USD Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund, or BUILD, has started recently. I think it was just announced earlier this week or last week, and they've seen $160 million in inflows for the first week. Let's go through what this fund actually is. It's a tokenized money market fund that invests in U.S. Treasury bills, repurchase agreements, and cash. With help from Miami-based Securitize, it uses the Ethereum blockchain for issuing BUILD tokens, which are designed to offer a stable value of $1 per token and pay dividends in the form of tokens representing U.S. dollar yield to qualified investors. Reported on Wednesday by Bloomberg that has gotten 160 million in inflows in the last week. This was followed by a blog post by Ondo saying it will allocate a substantial portion of the assets of its tokenized short-term U.S. Treasury bills, ETF, OUSG, into BUILD. Again, I covered this recently, and a lot of people were talking about this as like a real-world asset fund. They're going to go invest in a bunch of different projects. And I said, no, it seems more like a stable coin, because it's going to have a stable value of $1. But they're giving yield too, so they made an important distinction. It's more like a tokenized money market, that 4 or 5% product that you can get from Fidelity or maybe your banking institution. It's more like that, where they're giving you yield. I mean, think about how sweet that would be if you had this token. Let's say you had this token in MetaMask, assuming this is how it works, because they have said that they're going to give yield and they might be able to send it to different locations. Imagine how cool that would be if you had, I don't know, $1,000 in MetaMask, and then every single month they paid you some tokens. They pay you $3 in tokens, $4 in tokens, which would be, a 5% yield. But how cool would that be if they sent it to your wallet so you didn't have to do anything and you can hold it where you want? What if you had $100,000 on some Treasure wallet or a Ledger wallet, and then every single month it just accrued and you didn't have to keep it on an exchange? They just paid you out. That would be really cool. And of course, there are drawbacks to having it at BlackRock or having any stablecoin, right? But I would think this would be pretty well monitored by the government or by the entities that need to make sure that there's actually one-to-one backing. BlackRock continues to build on its newfound success in digital assets. In January, BlackRock secured SEC approval. Okay, so they're getting more inflows, just like You know, they launched another stealth fund. If you didn't remember that, like a year ago, they talked about how they were actually going to be buying Bitcoin in a private fund. And I think it was around like 200 million of Bitcoin that they had in there at one point. Now it's a lot more. But they launched that before they launched it to everyone, right? Before they launched their public spot ETF, they already had another fund that was buying up Bitcoin. This is interesting. They're starting with this, and as far as I know, you can't buy it anywhere. You can't invest in their stablecoin. But imagine how big this is going to be. And I've talked about why they want to get into this. The stablecoin business is one of the most interesting businesses in crypto. Like, it's one of the most profitable as well. You're basically launching something that you're making up and then giving people something in return. But you're taking that actual cash or the dollar bills, whatever it is, and you can go put it into treasuries and make 4%. And like USDT and USDC, they don't pay you anything, right? They don't pay you 3 or 4%, 5% to switch into their stablecoin. No, they just give you a stablecoin that you can easily get into cryptocurrencies with that's backed 1-to-1, supposedly. But then they get all the yield. So on a $100 billion asset here, this Tether, they're making like $4 billion, $5 billion a year just by putting it into treasuries. So it makes a lot of sense that BlackRock wants to get into something like this. Even if they have to pay yield out, they can always make a difference, right? If they pay you 4%, they can yield 5%. So I think this is actually going to be a resounding success in the space. And as we know, like, fees generally go to zero in different asset classes or different products over time. And you can see BlackRock kind of doing that, like taking out maybe some of the margin of Tether. If Tether has to start paying a yield or something, which I don't think they will, I don't see that. But they're coming with a better alternative, which is interesting. And they're not just offering, obviously, that. They're obviously continuing to buy Bitcoin. We had another good inflow day, 254 million just yesterday, despite the 300 million outflow from GBTC. I mean, think about that. They bought 100% of the newly mined Bitcoin. They bought 100% of the Bitcoin sold by GBTC. They bought an additional 3,100 Bitcoin from other willing sellers. That's 3 days of supply on top of the day of supply that they already bought. So yeah, this is extremely bullish. It's a bullish time. You know, it looks like we're making another little bit of a rally. We're trying to get above where we were yesterday. I would be looking for like this 72 mark as a bit of resistance. You can just see this trend line that we had hit a couple different times, but maybe 72,000, maybe a little bit below that as resistance. And then if we can break above that, man, that's going to be extremely bullish. I would be looking at like high 72, 73 maybe, and then obviously the prior all-time high of about 74,000. So yeah, I'm extremely bullish. I think we have bullish times ahead. It seems like a lot of entities are trying to get in the crypto game right now. Like, we know certain entities like BlackRock trying to get into tokenization, money market fund. We know Coinbase is trying to get in, and maybe Morgan Stanley trying to get into the Bitcoin ETF game. We just had a new Bitcoin ETF launched yesterday. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. Let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. I appreciate it. Again, you can check out Margex and CoinW. I'll see you in the next.